Oh, there we go. There we go. Very exciting stuff, everybody. Very exciting stuff. We're going to talk about infrastructure challenges. Very, very exciting stuff. Anyway, sorry. My name is Barry Evans. I am the Senior VP of Product Development at Pixitmedia by Datacore. We are a software-defined storage solution provider exclusively focused on the media and entertainment market. Anyway, so very briefly, what we're going to talk about today. Over the past few months, there have been some very, very significant challenges in terms of hardware purchases, right? And this is affecting all sorts of projects that we're working on. It's really been a very disruptive issue that's really cutting into people's growth plans. It's been absolutely insane. I mean, this doesn't paint the full picture of it, but right now you've got the situation with both the hyperscalers and these mega data center projects for AI are just completely throwing the hardware market into chaos. Things like NVMe drives, memory, even just normal bog standard spinning disks are getting very difficult to procure. They're getting very expensive. It's been very difficult to commit lead times to on anything. Very difficult to commit to pricing on anything. So people still need to work. They still have projects that they need to do. They still have growth that they need to accommodate for. And we're just going to give our perspective on how we can help with those situations. So as I said, what we're seeing used to be a very project-focused, project-based purchases in this industry. You get a new project, you go and buy a new system. We're having to think a little bit more strategically about that now. And that means the refresh cycles are, we're seeing people ask for 5 years. They, used to be, I'm going to keep this thing for 3 years, and I'm going to look at it and renew it. It's very 5, even 7 years that we're seeing sometimes because of this. We've seen projects delayed. We're seeing people shelving things, not necessarily shelving the work that they're doing, but certainly rethinking exactly how they're going to do it. Making compromises in their workflow, making compromises in their in some of their deliverables in order to move things forward. Gone are the days of I need 200 terabytes, but I might need 400, right? So let's buy a little bit extra. That's out the window. It's very important that right now that people are getting the idea of their capacity, their needs up front, so they know what they need to go into. And this historically over the years, we've seen when it comes to growth, particularly like a tier 0 type of system, where the primary access point is for NAS and so on and so forth. That there's just if you run out of space, what do? You just go and buy more, right? And that is not possible right now. You can't just go out and buy more unless you want to wait 6 to 12 months for it. So some of the ways where we've really been focused on, and this has been very quick because this has come up out of nowhere really, is instead of these scale out systems, we have two platforms, right? One's called Pixitmedia, the other's called Ingenia, and that's the Pixitmedia solution combined. One's focused on data management, data orchestration. The other's focused on collaboration and so on. So, but we're very liberal with the amount of servers that we would supply with these things. We've got your data movers over here. You've got your ingest nodes over here, your storage nodes over here, and so on and so forth, to build a really elegant, scalable platform. But the problem with that is that that's a lot of servers. Servers aren't cheap anymore, right? So we've done a lot to condense those down into very small footprints where everything's combined into a really elegant 2U package, so that you're really avoiding the need to go out and buy tons of servers just to get the job done. So wherever we can see a consolidation opportunity, very important to go ahead and take it in these times. But more interestingly, and this isn't this isn't a new concept, but wherever you're able to leverage something that that may not be on-prem in order to expand into your archives, or even your working capacity. That's something that we use the cloud a lot for elastic coverage, right? So we may have a very small footprint on premise with a tier 0. You start to run out of capacity. What do? You can't get the stuff into the facility. You can very nicely put it into the cloud, but without breaking the view of data, without your users having to go and hunt for it. But that's not a particularly unique capability for a storage vendor. What's really important, the advice I really want to give to my customers is, I think we're in kind of a temporary problem at the moment with hardware. I think it will begin to ease within time. Something will break, and a lot of our customers, they don't want to move into the cloud. They don't want to put their data into the cloud, because they might want to get it back out. Sometimes there's no choice, right? It's capacity that's available that you can use. So it's very important that when you are approaching that you're able to have a system that you can actually go and get direct access to the data and pull that back out if needed. So we don't do anything proprietary when we put stuff into the cloud. When we stick a file into the cloud, it goes in, it's an object, it's the same file that it was when it left on-prem, right? We're not obfuscating the data in any way. That's very important when you're taking on a strategy where you may want to get that back at a future date, without having to, be chained to the vendor in order to do that. Again, just because this hardware situation is come up doesn't mean that people aren't growing their projects, that they're not working in different areas. Life goes on, right? But when it comes to, say, I need to spin up a new site temporarily in another location, it might be India, could be somewhere in South America. This is a quite common scenario where you have your site in LA, you have your site in New York, you have your site in London, and you need to start to share out with all these remote sites. It could be quite difficult now to, again, procure the small footprint hardware that you need in order to service those other sites. So again, having a solution that will allow you to spin up in the cloud temporarily if you want, that can connect to your on-premise, move that data back and forth, keep track of it, keep that single view of data without your users really having to think about it. Very important. And finally, when you are in a situation where you're looking very tactically at how you are having to pick up a lot of those storage purchases, it's very easy to generate this huge mess of stuff. You've got files everywhere, you've got content all over the place. It's being able to keep track of that can be quite a challenge when you have little islands that are popping up all over the place. So one way that we address this is everything that goes into our systems, we will catalog it. We will keep track of exactly which site, which storage repository is going in, so that you are able to search for it if you need to. That could bring up the proxy to make sure that it's the thing that you want, and then give the user the ability to relocate it or move it back. Really just trying to get in a situation where no one's really having to think about where any of this stuff is, but you still know where it is when you need to know where it is, right? Because the end goal with all of this is really there's going to be a point where people are going to want to bring that back together, re-centralize that, right? Without having this distributed stuff. And you can't find it, you can't do that. So having that catalog, having that ability to very easily search, again, very important. So just to very quickly recap on that, the 4 pillars of what we're doing to help address that: data management. We want to do everything we can to keep track of where that data is going, where it's flowing. The orchestration is the thing that will actually make those movements for you, be they to different islands of storage on premise, or to different often to the cloud, or for remote sites all over the world. Collaboration from a similar vein, and discovery being the situation where we're cataloging the data, keeping track of it, making sure that it's no problem for you to go and search and find that. It's a very, very quick, very exciting message after that enthralling chat about AI. Any questions? Excellent stuff. Well, look, if anybody wants to talk further and share war stories about the current state of the hardware market, very exciting subject. We are just over there in those cabanas, the Pixitmedia booth. Come by, say hello, get a coffee, get a free water bottle, maybe a pack of Cheez-Its, and have a great show. Thank you very much.